Here are the 5 things that are keeping you broke as a real estate agent. Here is thing number 1. And the thing number 1 is not enough leads. Everybody thinks that they have a leads problem, and I want to reframe it for you. It is not a leads problem. It is a conversations problem. Just because you have 100 leads in your database doesn't mean that you're going to get a deal from it. And we actually know that real estate agents buy hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads on a monthly and yearly basis and don't ever call them because it's weird to make that call. So it's not a leads problem. It is a conversation problem. So I want to show you 4 ways to generate conversations. Here's way number 1, which is organic. The organic way of generating conversations has got to do with something as simple as posting a piece of content on social media. So instead of doing what every other agent does, which is a just listed or just sold or market update that doesn't generate any responses, you want to frame all your conversations in an organic way. You want to say something like, hey, would you rather live in the mountains or by the beach? When you do that, it is called a sorting question, and it starts to generate a flurry of comments on social media, maybe on a Facebook post or an Instagram post or an Instagram story, etc. And when you get those comments, now you have the ability to start a conversation because all conversion happens in conversation. There's no way that a lead turns into a deal without a conversation. It is our job to put ourselves in the slipstream of as many conversations that we can have in this process. So number 1, post content to generate response so you can have a conversation. The job of every piece of content is to do one thing, is to help you generate a response so you can actually have a conversation. The second way is paid. You can actually generate paid leads. You can pay Zillow, you can pay Facebook, etc. to generate these leads, but it's pointless if you generate these leads but don't really have a way to engage them to have a conversation. So if you are generating leads in some way, one of 2 things need to happen. Number 1, you need to be in a place where you can instantly call these leads that are coming in. And most agents don't want to call because they feel like it's intrusive, whatever, but somebody just registered on your site. Somebody just raised their hand and said they wanted something from you. It is totally okay to call because they gave you permission to do that. Or the second way is if you don't want to call, you need to have a really robust automation system, maybe text or email, to nurture this lead so that as and when they're ready, they generate a reply and you can have a conversation. If you do not have some way of nurturing a lead through this process so you can have an automated, unlimited lifetime nurture way of communicating with them, you should not buy any leads. Because if you do buy those leads, then you're just going to get frustrated that you have more leads and not enough deals, because it's not about the leads, it's about the conversations, because a lead to conversation, conversation to deal. That's number 2, which is the paid. The third, which is actually my favorite and fastest way to generate conversations, is activities. Now, you may say, Sharon, what is an activity? One of the easiest activities to do is to door knock. And most people don't like door knocking because they think it's beneath them and things like that. However, you are in a prime position where you're knocking on a door of a homeowner and having a conversation with them about real estate. You can be very open and honest about who you are and what you're doing there. Now, I will tell you what to not do and then what to do. So a lot of times, even I'll tell you what happened recently. I was at my house it was like a Saturday, and someone came knocking on the door, and I opened the door. Of course, there was 2 agents, and they said, "Hey, we're just door knocking the neighborhood, seeing if anybody had any real estate needs." Please don't do that, right? You don't tell people, "Hey, I'm just door knocking the neighborhood, seeing if anybody had any real estate needs." I, as a consumer, did not wake up in the morning thinking, I'm really hoping somebody will door knock on my door, will knock on my door cold, who I do not know, who I'm going to write them a $25,000, $50,000, $80,000 check based on the house that you live in, and ask me about my real estate needs. I don't know what a real estate need is. The average consumer does not understand what a real estate need is. You got to be very specific with your ask, especially if it's a cold conversation that you don't have any rapport to build on. Instead of doing that, I would offer something else. What I would offer is if you know of a piece of information. So if you said, hi, my name is Sharon, and I'm sorry to bother you. We just listed a home for sale around the corner from you. It's on 123 Real Street. Have you had a chance to see it? It's the one with the big red door. Oh, no, you haven't. In fact, we're actually having a private neighbors only visitation open house tomorrow. Do you have your cell? Can I just text you the details? So you're welcome to stop by anytime between 11 and 2. Now, that is a significantly better invitation, because when you're showing up with an invitation, they're like, wait a minute, this person has something that I don't have access to. I want to see this house. I want to see what happened. That way, you don't have to tell them you're a real estate agent. You don't have to tell them you're door knocking. You don't have to ask them about any real estate needs. You're really inviting them to something super important. Now, if you don't have that, you can come up with a market update. You can say, hey, I just did 3 professional home valuations for 3 clients in my neighborhood. And since I'd already done the work, I wanted to just connect with a few neighbors to see if you needed an updated home valuation, if you knew the accurate number for taxes or just estate planning purposes. Again, it's no charge to you because I've already done 80% of the work. And then you stop, because it now allows you to have a conversation, because all conversion happens in conversation. The activities are a really good thing because it allows you to actually put yourself in a position not to have to generate a lead, but instantly stop the lead generation process and go directly into the conversation creation process. And that is where you win, because all conversion happens in conversation. And here's the fourth way to generate more conversations. Most people don't like this, but in fact, you shouldn't have to do organic posts. You shouldn't have to do paid ads. You shouldn't have to do activities. You should join a team. If you can join a team in your marketplace that already has lead-based infrastructure, they can have their ISA call and set appointments. They actually have a bank of leads that you can call. They maybe already have Zillow Flex or other lead mechanisms that you can plug into. Whether you like them or not, it allows you to have active conversations. I recommend for most agents who are early in the business to actually get in and plug into a team with conversation and appointment infrastructure, because when they deliver that to you, you instantly can work on your skills and you don't have to worry about the inconsistent conversation generation, not lead generation, inconsistent conversation generation. Real estate agents are not broke because they don't have good leads. Real estate agents are broke because they're not having consistent conversations. You don't want to have up and down conversations. You want to have consistent conversations. So 4 ways: organic, paid, activities, or join a team. Here's the second reason why agents are broke, and that is the massive resistance to technology. I have real estate agents that will tell me, hey, I'm a belly-to-belly person. I build relationships. I show up and I ask questions. That's fine, but you still need a way to work efficiently, because the amount of work that you do today is significantly more than what you had to do in the past. You had to deal with calls, texts, emails, social media. You have to deal with DocuSign and in-paper appointments. You have to deal with the inspection reports and other contingency removals. You're having to deal with more now than you've ever had to deal with before. So you cannot resist technology in any way. So you may say, well, Sharon, I'm a belly-to-belly rapport-based person, but I want to give you 3 quick tips in this process. The first one is you should get a virtual assistant or a team member to help you with the technology so that you can just speak. If you're a person and you're like, hey, I don't enjoy this stuff as much. I enjoy the person-to-person interaction. If you got a virtual assistant, like call a company like Assistantly and say you want a office manager or a virtual or an executive assistant in this process, where you could just tell them what to do and you could explain what you want and they will go do that thing. Having that as a resource is really, really powerful. So number 1, get yourself a team member or a virtual assistant instead of just resisting and complaining that you're not going to work with technology, because they will make you significantly better. Number 2, I would highly recommend that you learn to speak to AI. If you download the OpenAI app or any other app in the AI space, if you download the app, it has a button that you can literally talk to the AI. And you could ask it questions. You don't have to type in anything. You can ask it questions like it's your assistant. You can say, hey, how have home values changed in the last 3 years? If I was talking to a buyer about buying in lower interest rate environment, how would you structure that conversation? Hey, I would like to role play with you. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell a client in a listing appointment, and I want you to critique and give me feedback on my answer. Hey, I want you to give me the most common objections, and I want you to help me role play these objections. Think about it. You can do all of this with AI right now. And in fact, the AI is better than you are. I'm sorry to say it is, because it has every piece of knowledge known to man, right? But you don't want to have to type or learn anything. You just want to speak to the AI, because now that reduces your resistance to technology, and you can ask it any questions you want. You can say, hey, how do I send a text message to so-and-so? How do I do a faceless YouTube video? How do I do an Instagram story with a link? How do I get this, DocuSign working? How do I do whatever? But now you're talking to the AI like it is your assistant, and it's really, really powerful. Now, what's even better is if you can get your virtual assistant to work with the AI. So you just have to talk to a virtual assistant from Assistantly or whatever, and then they can then start to get all the things done for you. But last but not least, when it comes to resisting technologies, there's one piece of technology I have seen that if an agent does not embrace, their business falls apart. And their business falls apart for one major reason. Not because they don't have enough leads, not because they forget anything, it's because they don't have a system of organizing their conversations, because all conversion happens in conversation. Conversations is the lifeblood of the real estate business. There's only 2 things that are important to a real estate agent. It's conversations and contracts. That's it. Conversations and contracts. When you have those two, you have a really healthy real estate business. And the way to track your conversations and way to manage and map everything that is happening from an organizational perspective in your business is to have a CRM. If you don't have a CRM, any CRM of any sort, a spreadsheet, a app on your phone, it doesn't matter what it is, you have to find a way to organize your conversations because you're organizing your pipeline. When you organize your pipeline, people know that you keep your promises that you make. When you say, I'll follow up in November, and you don't follow up in October or September, which is when you should, not when you said you were going to, but earlier, that's when it shows that you are on top of the ball. So if you are a real estate agent and you're resisting technology, number one, get a virtual assistant so that you can just talk to them. Number two, start talking to AI. And number three, just master your CRM, whatever the CRM you're working on. It can be Excel, it can be an app, it can be something really like a to-do list app. It doesn't matter what it is. Master working with a CRM because it allows you to organize your conversations. Here's the third reason that real estate agents are often broke, and that is a very controversial topic. It is weak negotiation skills. No real estate agent will ever admit that they're weak at negotiation. Nobody. You know why? Because they don't have to do it in public. They don't have to showcase it. There's no way in which you both stand on a stage and you have to negotiate this contract. And since most agents do it in private, they don't realize that they're bad. They don't realize they don't have the skills, and it triggers them when I, as a client, tell an agent that you're not good at negotiating because they don't know any different. And the interesting part is, it is not your fault, but it is your problem. I'll say it again. It is not your fault, but it is your problem. And the number one reason why most agents are not good at negotiation is because they have never been actually taught how to negotiate. It doesn't even matter if you're an attorney, you have some negotiation training, but it doesn't matter because real estate is a game of contracts and power players. The way you negotiate a real estate contract and a real estate power player is completely different than any other form of hostage negotiation. It is not that at all. So the reason why most agents are not good at negotiation is because they just have never been taught how to do it. And so accept that it is not your fault, but it is your problem. So I have a few tips for you. The first one is, if you're in a transaction and you felt like the other party got the upper hand in the negotiation, if you felt like you had to take it in the chin, ask yourself, what did the other person do differently? You just lost. You just gave up on a term. Why don't you learn from it? The other idea is, I would tell you that you as a real estate agent should read every single book available on negotiation. Every single one. You should stop looking at marketing books to make yourself feel better about marketing. And every single negotiating book is what you should read, because the clients is something that they cannot do. They don't know how to do. And we owe it to ourselves to become extremely, really good negotiators, but no one has ever taught us how. It is not your fault, but it is your problem. So I would read every single book on negotiation, especially starting with Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Here's another idea. I would track your negotiating success. And what I mean by that is, if you are representing the seller in a listing, I would have a spreadsheet with every single listing you've taken. I would have a column with the list price. I would have a column with the offer price, and I would have a column with all the key pieces of negotiation, maybe the request for repairs or other terms, etc., and what the final sales price was. I want you to see what the delta was between the offer price and the final sales price, because that shows you the value of what you did from contract to close. Now, based on market conditions, that may vary, and that's okay, but it'll at least start to show you your track record in the negotiation. Do the same on the buyer side, because then when you walk into a listing appointment and you say, hey, we negotiated really hard for our clients, let me show you, and you can show them the spreadsheet of all the negotiations that you've done and how you've tracked everything. Zero agents do that. Just the fact that you tracked it, just the fact that you show that, allows them to see the difference between the list price and the offer price, allows them to see the various contingency periods, allows them to see how you played this, this invisible power of what you do happens between contract to close and the negotiation period. No client understands what you do from a negotiating perspective. It's a black box, because you never let a client on the negotiating call. And maybe you don't even want to do it, right? But they don't know. So since they don't know, they don't understand. And if you can't show it to them, they don't believe you. That's why that proof artifact is really important. Last but not least, I will tell you this. If there's anything that you do, please do this. Every time you're at an event, you're at a conference, and you meet an agent that you believe is successful, you meet an agent that you're impressed by, ask the agent one question. Don't ask them about marketing. Don't ask them what made them successful. Don't ask them what is working in lead generation right now, because their market is not the same as your market. Whenever I talk to other agents, whenever I recommend that agents share ideas with each other, there is no marketplace normalization. There is no skill normalization. There is no value normalization. There's no business model normalization. Everybody's business is different. Everyone's market is different. Everyone's expertise and capability are different, but skills are the same. So I would ask, what is one thing that you know about negotiating deals today that you did not know when you started. If you just ask that one question, you're going to get 10, 20, 30 years worth of knowledge back to you instantly. And it allows you and that agent to form a really great bond because no one asks them those questions. Imagine if you've been in the business for 25 years and I asked you, what is one negotiating strategy or tactic that you know today that you didn't know when you started? You can compress time and take decades worth of experience in minutes and put it into yourself. So here's the fourth reason why agents are often broke, and that is you have no local market brand. It's not what you think, right? So let me actually tell you a quick story. Over the years, I've gone on several listing appointments, especially in my role these days as running Real. I get a chance to go to listing appointments with several of our agents, and the hardest appointments I've been on are the ones against geographic farmers. When another agent is there and they are a geographic farmer, when they have the local market expertise, I will tell you that is super hard. I would much rather I'm in a listing appointment against Warren Buffett or against Elon Musk than a local geographic farmer, because a local geographic farmer has been invited in that living room because of their local market expertise. Now, why is that important? Here's why. Most people think the way you build a local market brand is by advertising yourself on bus benches and Valpaks and shopping carts so you can make you famous. I'm sorry, they do not make you famous anymore. They did in the past because that was what you used to do. Do you see Ryan Serhan's face on a milk carton or a Valpak or a bus bench or a shopping cart? No, it's not because it's trashy. No, those used to work. They just don't work anymore. And in fact, they still work today. If you pump hundreds of thousands of dollars into it, it's a huge capital commitment, right? You can get a much better result without doing that thing. So you may say, Sharon, well, what do you actually do? I offer a digital first strategy. And let me explain what I mean by this. The idea that I'm explaining to you right now is called how to push the winners. And here's what you do. As in your normal course of business, you will probably make some content. Say you make one piece of content a day for 10 days. Right? And out of those 10 pieces of content, when you look back at all of them, you will notice that one or two pieces of content probably perform significantly better than every other piece of content. That's a winner. So what you do is you put a few dollars behind it, like $1 a day for 5 days. And you advertise it or boost it into your target market. Now, here's the reason why. Instead of just making a random ad and boosting it into your target market, you have no idea if that ad's going to perform. However, if you take a piece of content that you posted 10 pieces of content and this one piece of content actually stood out, the algorithm is telling you that the people actually like that piece of content over every other piece of content that you made. What you're doing is you're pushing money behind a winner. You're saying, hey, piece of content, you are a winner. I'm going to show you to more people because people have already told me that they like that piece of content. Pushing the winners is the fastest way in which you get local market expertise and local market presence, because the market has already told you that piece of content performs well, and now you are incentivizing the algorithm with something really small, $1 or $2 a day for 5 to 10 days, to show your already winning piece of content to everyone else in the market. Small little things like that change the game completely. Now, here's this one last thing, and it's going to trigger a lot of real estate agents when I say this, is that when you have real estate agents in every market trying to promote themselves as real estate agents in every market, you get a commoditized way. You know it. They know it, but they still have to do it because they're like, man, I have to show that I am number one. So they slice the data differently, or they try to do a bigger sign or do a bigger billboard or do a mega open house or what have you. Instead, think about it a little differently. Pick the one thing that you'd like to be known for outside of real estate. If you're a real estate agent here in Laguna Beach, California, pick the one thing that you'd like to be known for outside of real estate. Maybe you have a mechanic blog. Maybe you write about all the tax changes. Maybe you have an Instagram page that has all the local businesses. Maybe you do a local food channel. I'll give you a crazy example. My friend Karen Stone is a great real estate agent in Park City, Utah. She realized that on Nextdoor, which you can't really market, she realized that she became the local market expert for appraisal and tax purposes on how properties get appraised at the end of the year for property taxes. So since it's since they don't have an open MLS, she has to do all the comp study by hand. So she one day had to do it for her own house. And so she put it on Nextdoor that she spent these 4 hours doing this comp study and an appraisal request for her own house to reduce her property taxes. And she said, if a few people are interested, she'd be happy to do it for them. Imagine this. She didn't say, I'm a real estate agent. I sell Park City. I'm amazing. I'm number one. I have the best marketing. I do 3D drones. She didn't do any of that. She made herself known for something that was not directly related to the sale of real estate. And so now everybody started contacting her saying, hey, could you help me prepare a packet that will help me reduce my taxes? She's been doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those every single year. How do you think it is translated into business? If anybody wants to sell, who do they call first? They call the person that has already done the research on their house. So think about this for a second. Ask yourself the question, what is one thing that you'd like to be known for outside of real estate? That is what's going to help you build the local market real estate brand that you truly want. Here's number 5 of the things that are going to keep you broke as a real estate agent. And please think about these words. These are 4 words. That is the death of a real estate agent's business. And that is big goal, no plan. Big goal, no plan. It is amazing to me how agents will tell me, oh, I want to sell $400 million worth of real estate this year. I want to have a $55 million net worth before I'm 55. And I'm like, hope is not a strategy. Show me the plan. What is the plan? And I'll give you a crazy story around this. I have a friend who has a big goal, and he's in the Los Angeles real estate market. He sells 50 homes a year, right? And his coach told him that he should door knock for 4 hours a day, and only then that was going to generate 50 to 60 sales a year. And so think about it. Big goal, 50 sales a year, door knock 4 hours a day. That was his plan. So he did it. And then finally he realized that his knees were like giving out because he was door knocking 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I asked him, I said, hey, have you looked at your roster of like 50 clients from the last year and seen how many of them actually came from door knocking? To your surprise, 0. 0 clients came from door knocking. Now, what does that mean? Where did they all come from? Well, we found out that all his clients came from 4 people in his SOI. 4 people drove 50 clients, 49 clients, 4, and then one was a random one. 4 people drove 49 referrals for him from his network. And he talked to those 4 people often. He had active real estate conversations with those 4 people often. So he just took a break for 6 months and he just spent more time with those 4 people. What do you think happened to his business? It took off. It grew because he knew exactly where his business was coming from. It's just he had a big goal and a bad plan. And so I want to ask you this question, which is, what is your plan? And I will tell you your plan, if you have not thought through this process significantly, is you may have written a business plan. You may have said, this is what I'm going to do with my life. These are my goals. These are my aspirations. This is my why. You can do all of that, but it's technically useless because you're never going to look at it again. The plan does not work unless you know your daily magic number. Because we know that more conversations gets us more contracts. So how do you track more conversations? How do you track more real estate conversations? So let me give you the broad math around it. 40 to 60 conversations will get you 1 transaction. Let's say you wanted to do 10 transactions and you were really good. So that would be 40 conversations times 10. That's 400 conversations in a year. Now, let's take 400 conversations in a year and divide it by, say you take 4 weeks off, divided by 48. That's roughly 8 to 10 conversations a day. So let's round it up to 10. Your magic number is 10. Your magic number is 10 real estate conversations a day. Now, I know that sounds really mechanical, but that is your plan. Everything else that happens is serendipitous. Everything that else happens is gravy. The thing that you can control is the plan of 10 conversations a day. So if you wake up in the morning and say, I am not done today until I have 10 active real estate conversations, then if you just did that, you will hit your goal because you create that much momentum. Because we started with the first big reason why agents stay broke is not enough leads. It is not about not enough leads. It's about not having enough conversation. So instead of me waking up and tracking how many leads I have in my database, I only focus on my magic daily number. The daily magic number of getting to 10 conversations a day so I can get 400 conversations total so I can get, 10 deals allows me to know that that is the input-output formula. Big goal, no plan is the number 1 reason why most real estate agents fail. And I don't want you to fall in that bucket. So my question for you is this. If it roughly takes, if you're good, which I know you are because you're watching this video and you are committed, say it takes 40 active real estate conversations to get to 1 deal, roughly, right? And if you take those 40 conversations and maybe text, maybe email, maybe DM, maybe back and forth on Instagram, maybe text message, maybe conversations, maybe leads, maybe open houses. It doesn't matter what it is. Because we all know that all real estate conversations are not made the same. I would much rather you have 4 active, tight open house conversations than you have, a lot of text conversations. But we know that that's not how the world works. So for you to have 10 real estate conversations per day, if you wanted to have those, how would you do that? You would get organic, you'd get paid, you get activities, or you would join a team. But you would do whatever it takes that day to hit 10 real estate conversations, because that starts to compound. And now that is your plan to your big goal, because you don't want to have big goal, no plan. These are the 5 big reasons why real estate agents stay broke. Number 1, not enough leads. It's actually not enough leads. It's actually not having enough active conversations. Number 2, resisting technology. You don't want to resist technology. You just want to speak to technology these days and let it do the work for you. Number 3, weak negotiation skills. You have just never been able to taught how to negotiate, because it's not your fault, but it is your problem. So whenever you meet an agent that you think is successful, that you think is smart, that at a conference, you ask them, hey, what is one thing you know about negotiation today that you did not know when you started? Number 4 is not being the local market brand. And the way to answer that question is, what is one thing that you want to be known for outside of real estate? That's what's going to give you their real estate brand. And number 5, big goal, no plan. Let's not have the big goal, no plan. Let's get your daily magic number. The daily magic roughly takes 40 conversations for one transaction. If you want to do 10 transactions, that's 400 conversations. 400 conversations divided by 48 to 52 weeks is roughly 8 to 10 conversations a day. Make sure you hit the 10 active real estate conversations. Be true to yourself. Keep your promise to yourself to hit the 10 conversations every single day. And that will be the last time you're ever broke. Hey, by the way, if you like this, I have 7 of my top trainings that I used to charge for, that I bundled them all up together, called the Top Agent Power Pack. It is my top trainings that will help you make more money. It is 100% free. You can get the link below. It's the Top Agent Power Pack, and it's my free gift.